Hello and welcome to What's for Lunch. My name is JJ, so I'm the project officer for the Student Success Team, organising some of our Discover Uni Melb events. And today we have the amazing Djamila with us, who's going to be our lovely student demonstration with our meal today. So Djamila, I might get you to jump on and say hello and give us a bit of a background about yourself.
Sure. Hi, so my name is Djamila, as JJ already mentioned, and I'm a third-year PhD candidate in the School of Psychological Sciences. Now, I have a pretty big passion for cooking and healthy eating, which sort of only sparked in the last few years, and I think that also sort of dictated which project I wanted to do for my PhD. So I'm interested in looking at the associations between eating, so healthy eating, and how that might affect our mental health. And I'm also interested in how the gut microbiome might be involved in that. So the community of microorganisms that are residing in the gastrointestinal tract. So this area is really, really fascinating to me, and really keen to share a recipe that I love with you today. It's very easy, it's very quick and modifiable, so hopefully you'll be able to adapt it to your own needs as you like. Yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So what I might do is I will let you take it away and talk us through your recipe. And if anyone has any questions about it, they might pop it in the chat or they can jump on and say it. And I will read them out to you if they come through and we can go through that. But otherwise, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So hopefully you can see everything that I'm doing, but I thought I would quickly walk you through all of the ingredients. So this is a really quick sort of roast veggie, falafel, couscous meal that I love to make. It takes really only about 30 minutes to make once you sort of get all the steps ready and you sort of know what to do. It's really quick. So just going to walk you through the base ingredients that we've got today. So I've got a bag of falafel. This is about $5, and we're not going to even use all of this, so this should last you a couple of meals. And so the amount that I'm making today should be for 2 servings. But obviously you can make more or make less, totally up to you. So I've got 1 zucchini, 1 red capsicum, and 1 red onion, which we'll roast off in the oven. And then we've got just like a 4-leaf salad mix that we'll use as sort of the base of the dish.
Just a quick question, Djamila.
Yeah.
Just wondering, the capsicum, you were saying that you got red capsicums. Any particular reason why red, or is that just your favorite color capsicum?
Yeah, no reason really. I just like red capsicum. I think it's good to sort of eat the rainbow, if you will, when you're sort of choosing veggies and fruits to eat, just because actually the colors of your fruits and vegetables, they're called phytochemicals, and these sort of vibrant colors actually have a lot of benefits, health benefits. So the more vibrant the fruits and veggies are, the more these phytochemicals you can get in your diet. So I actually really like to sort of eat as many different colors as possible in sort of my vegetable and fruit selection, but it's really up to you. Like you can have the yellow or the green capsicum if you want. And the good thing of this recipe is also, like, if you get sick of these sort of vegetables, you can mix it up with, I don't know, like a pumpkin or eggplant. You can sort of mix and match, really up to you and what your preference is. But these are the sort of really, they work really well in this recipe, so I thought I would show you that. Red onion also, I think, is a little bit milder than brown onion, and sort of when you roast it off, has almost like a little sweet sort of taste, which I really like. But if you prefer brown onions, that's also totally fine. But yeah, for this recipe, I'll be using red onion. Then I've got just some couscous. That will also be sort of forming the base of the salad. And then in terms of like garnishing and sort of adding a little bit of taste. I'll be making this will be sort of a little bit spontaneous. I haven't actually played around with this particular sauce, but what I'll try to do is, so I've got Greek yogurt and I've got a little bit of minced garlic. So I'll mix that in with some lemon juice as well. And that should hopefully be like a really nice, tangy, flavorful sauce that you can sort of drizzle over the top. But again, you can also play around with the sort of condiments that you want to put on top. You could try tahini, you could try hummus, whatever you sort of prefer. It's really up to you to sort of mix and match. And then for a little bit of extra tanginess, I've also got some pickles, but that's also totally optional. You could also substitute with olives or anything else that can give it a little bit of a more sort of tangy, salty flavor. And then lastly, I had these are looking a little bit sad, but I had some chives left over, so I thought I would sprinkle that over the top at the very end. But again, you can use any herb that you like, and that's also optional. I know parsley works really well with this recipe, so again, up to you. But yeah, this is sort of the selection of ingredients that we'll be working with today. So first things first, I'm going to set the oven. So I'm just going to preheat the oven to 220 fan force. So I'm just going to quickly do that now. So you want to make sure it's fan forced ideally, and just set to 220 degrees Celsius.
And Djamila, how long would you suggest to have it heating up? Like you just turned it on now, so is when you're about to start preparing everything long enough, or should they turn it on sooner? Or
I reckon by the time you're done cutting all the veggies and sort of having all the ingredients set up, that'll be usually enough time to have the oven preheat. I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes. Also depends on your specific oven. Some ovens are a little bit quicker to heat up. Most will tell you when it's ready. Like usually there'll be a little light or some sort of message to tell you that it's ready as well. But yeah, usually at the very start, when you haven't done anything yet, is probably the best time to start preheating. And then, yeah, you're sort of on the go. So I'm just gonna grab a knife and I'm just gonna make sure to quickly rinse my hands as well. We wanna make sure our hands are clean before we get started.
And do you have any pointers for us, Djamila, on particular knives?
Particular knives? That's a good question. I don't actually have any expertise in knives, to be honest. I think this one was actually from Coles, or either Coles or Woolworths. They had some promotion, like the MasterChef series, I believe. And these are actually pretty good. So as long as it's like sharp enough, so you don't want it to be very dull. And I guess you want a decent size, like you don't want anything that's too small or too big, because then that'll sort of get in the way of cutting. So something that's sort of medium sized is usually good for chopping up veggies. But in terms of specific like brands that I can recommend, I'm not sure I can. But yeah, worth sort of playing around with what sort of feels best.
But just making sure it's nice and sharp, right?
Yeah, make sure it's nice and sharp, and be very careful, obviously, when cutting, because yeah, I've sliced my finger a few times with this, so you have to be very careful. So I'm just going to quickly wash the capsicum and zucchini, and I'll be right back.
And Djamila, for those that might not know, why do you wash your vegetables and that? Like, are you worried about something on them, or is there a particular reason? Or
yeah, I think it's just always a little bit safer to give them a rinse, just because there could be pesticide residue, there could be just grime or sort of dust or dirt on them still, and that's not something you want to eat. So I think I always sort of side on cautious side, so I try to give everything a rinse Yeah, and if there's like any obvious dirt, then you definitely want to get that sort of removed. But I think if you are peeling your vegetables, you might not necessarily need to rinse them as well, since you're getting rid of that outer layer. But if you're not going to be peeling them, then yeah, I would recommend giving them a wash. Yeah. Okay, so I'm also going to tie up my hair so it's not in the way. Okay, so I might start with the onion. And so I actually like cutting this in half first before peeling it, because I found that it actually really helps with the peeling process if you cut into it first. And then it's sort of much easier to peel that way.
And tell us, I've always got a question for this. How do you handle not crying when you're cutting onions? Do you have any secret?
I actually got my friend who is really big into, like, she uses onion a lot in her cooking. And she would wear these swimming goggles and they look crazy. So I got her some actual, like, I mean, they looked even crazier because there were these like really funky bedazzled glasses, but they're sort of supposed to block the block any air from coming in, so you don't get any tears while cutting the onions. But I don't actually use anything. I just sort of
go with it.
I just cop it. Yeah, I just cop it.
Okay, but bedazzled glasses, that's the way to go, is it?
It's an option. I think at Spotlight, I believe. Not sponsored, but yeah, I think Spotlight has some that were pretty decent.
I think I could get behind bedazzled glasses. That sounds good to me.
But I think with red onion as well, it tends to be a little bit milder, so I don't notice my eyes tearing up as much when I'm handling red onions, which is nice. And so yeah, just make sure to cut off the ends on either side. And then with the red onions, you can cut these quite thickly, so you can make them into sort of quite thick wedges for this particular recipe. So just size of wedge. But also up to you. If you prefer to have smaller bits of onion, but because they sort of do get roasted up, you won't get that really intense punch of onion. So having like a bigger piece is actually quite nice for this particular recipe. So that's the onion, and then with the capsicum, we'll just want to slice off the top and get rid of the, I don't know what this is called, like the stemmy part, I'm not sure. I don't know my, anatomy of the vegetables too well. And then, yeah, you want to get rid of the interior part with all of the seeds as well. And if there's any leftover seeds, that's fine, but I usually try to get that all out, and then you just have this hollow interior, and then also the top part I use as well because it's perfectly good to use. I try to be as I don't know, kind of mindful with the products that I have, and I don't like to waste anything, so this is perfectly good to use. And so what I'll do is I'll just slice the capsicum into thin strips. So I'll just I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done, but yeah, you sort of just want to have thin strips like that. I don't know, there's something really therapeutic about cutting vegetables for me, because you sort of have to concentrate on what you're doing, and then you can sort of just not think about anything else. I'm not sure. Can you relate at all, JJ, with cutting?
100%. I come from an Italian family, so I find it very therapeutic, if I can think of the word, to sit there and cook and just sort of zone out from everything, forget about the world, especially when it's been a really long day with work. I find it so relaxing to get in the kitchen and just sit there and cut and stir or just prepare something, and you don't have to put too much thought into it.
Yeah.
But my partner from Nepal, he sometimes comes in and goes, no, there's a lot more thought into it. You need to add all these spices. You need to do this. So whenever we're doing a Nepalese meal, there's a lot more stress and a lot more thinking involved.
Fair enough.
But no, I agree. I think it's so relaxing just to zone out and prepare the food. It's definitely something I look forward to.
Yeah, it's a good point. If it's really involved and if it's perhaps a new recipe that you haven't done before, then it can be a little bit less relaxing. But then the more you do the same recipe over and over again, like once you find a recipe that you love, it just becomes really automatic and you don't really have to think about it anymore.
Exactly. Like we tried something new last night, which was amazing. And it's these spicy ramen noodles.
Ooh,
but
good.
all you did, the only thing, to be honest, like there was nothing different except one thing. Instead of boiling water and cooking them in water, instead you get milk and boil the milk and cook them in milk, and that soaks up into them, and they're like a lot juicier with all the flavor. Like it was so good. So,
milk? I wouldn't have thought of using milk in.
No, I had a heart attack when he started pouring it in the pan. I was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna ruin it." And so he was like, "No, just trust me." And I went, "Okay." And then we cooked it and had it, and like I said, it tasted amazing. It was so good. So definitely going to be doing that more often.
I'm gonna keep that in mind. But
yeah, definitely recommend trying it.
So all done with the capsicum. So just onto the last vegetable, zucchini. So again, just cut off the top. And then with this one, I might just cut this in half first and then cut that lengthwise, just so it's a little bit easier to cut lengthwise. And then I'm just going to cut that again into like half moon shapes like that. And these can be quite thick actually, because yeah, zucchini don't take long to roast at all. And the whole thing in the oven, I'd say takes only about 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. So it's fairly quick.
And just with the zucchinis, I don't eat zucchini, so I'm not very knowledgeable around it. But I noticed you've got a big zucchini. I believe they also come mini zucchinis or little zucchinis. Is there any particular reason why you're using the big one, or is that just what you always use? Or
yeah, just what I always use. I don't think I've seen many of the smaller ones, to be honest. But if they have that's also totally fine.
Wait, now I've got to make sure I actually got that right. Because I've seen like little mini, I swear they're zucchinis. Yeah, at Woolies they sell little 500 gram punnets. Like they're probably what size? Probably the size of the knife that you held, like the black handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very small.
Yeah, so they come in little packs of 3. That are just mini zucchinis. But I wasn't sure if there was a particular reason why you have the big one, or that's just what you normally use.
That's what I normally use, yeah.
No
reason.
Yeah, awesome.
So I will just show you quickly if I know how to. Yep, so that's just trying to get rid of the shadow. So
let me grab a snippet.
The finished veggies all chopped up.
Got it. Thank you.
No worries.
I love the color. Something so simple is all the color variation there.
Yeah. It's also just really cheerful on the plate when you have a lot of different colors, I think at least.
Yeah, and especially if you're preparing this meal, I guess, for friends and family and that, like it looks nice and it's appetizing to have all this color instead of like all green or yellow or something.
For sure, yeah. So what I'll do now is I'm just gonna get like a oven tray, and I'm just gonna line that with some baking paper. So just regular brown baking paper will do.
And I noticed with your tray, it's quite a shallow tray. Does it matter if people have a deep tray or a shallow tray?
No? Okay, cool. Yeah. Any tray really will do. And then I'm going to also drizzle this with a little bit of olive oil. So on the tray, I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil So that just helps the veggies roast a little bit. And roasting with like an oil as well helps to actually sort of get the most out of your vegetables, especially if you have any vegetables with vitamins. Ooh, I believe vitamins A, D, and K. I'm not 100%, I don't remember exactly which ones, but there's a few root vegetables, not really the ones that we're working with today, but usually in sort of your really bright orange vegetables like your pumpkin, sweet potato, and carrots. You've got some vitamins that are fat soluble, so you can only really extract them if you sort of roast them with a fat as well. But generally, I like to do this anyway, just because it sort of helps the veggies roast up. And olive oil is really, really good for you. You can do this with another oil as well, but I generally always stick with olive oil. It has a lot of polyphenols, which are these antioxidants that are just really anti-inflammatory and have so many health benefits. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember quite which vitamins, but I can look that up again afterwards if anyone is particularly interested. So what I'm doing now is I'm just sort of popping them onto the tray, and I'm trying to sort of make sure that they're not all overlapping. I'll show you at the very end. I actually think that this tray might be a little bit on the smaller side. So if you are finding that your veggies are all really crowded, then you could always use 2 trays if you have, or you could just put them in sort of in 2 different batches if you only have 1 tray. But I think this should be okay, as long as the veggies aren't all like in one big pile. Like, you want to make sure they're all a little bit spread out so that they cook nice and evenly. I'm just gonna pop the onions over.
And I guess also, Djamila, it's probably because you have like quite big chunk sizes, like bite-sized type pieces. And I guess if someone was to like maybe dice them up or have them smaller, that also might help with a bigger tray. Or if they only have a smaller tray, having smaller cut pieces, I think also might help.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're gonna change up the size, so if you make them smaller, the size, then you might need less time in the oven, and vice versa. If you make them even bigger, then you might need a little bit longer in the oven. So just depends. Yeah. But for this sort of medium-sized chunkiness, I don't know if that's the word for it, about 20 to 25 minutes. So just like this. Yeah, they're not too overlapping, which is fine. And then again, I might just do another, I might just do another quick drizzle of olive oil over the top. So you can be quite generous with your olive oil.
I keep not having lunch before these sessions.
Yeah.
And I get halfway through looking at the food and hearing about it and just like drizzling olive oil and cutting up bite-sized pieces. Now I'm like, oh, I'm so hungry.
Oh,
like it looks so good.
Do you have anything, what do you have for lunch today?
I don't know. The partner just went down to the kitchen and he said, I'm going to go make lunch. So I'm hoping he means for both of us. So it could be a surprise. But yeah, I think by the end of this, I'm going to be so hungry.
Maybe might need a snack while you're watching this.
Yeah, I think I will.
So we're pretty much done with our veggies. So another optional step is you can add some salt and pepper. So I'm just gonna, maybe I'll get the chopping board out of the way so that you can see it's a little bit better, but I'm just gonna put the tray of veggies, I'm just gonna season it a little bit with salt and pepper. And to be honest, you could probably do other spices as well, actually. I haven't really experimented with other spices, but I would imagine you could try sprinkling, like, I don't know, cumin, or I'm not sure, like chili flakes. Like, it's totally up to your sort of taste preferences. but I just
What
want to keep
is
it.
that thing you're using? That looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's not mine, it's not partners, but it's like a little, just a little container where you got your. So there's quite the salt pieces are quite big. They're like flakes. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then this little wooden, I don't know,
That's awesome.
contraption. It's really sweet.
I love that. That looks so good.
Okay, so I am now just going to pop this into the oven. So yeah, if it's fan forced, it doesn't really matter if it's at the top or the bottom tray, but usually I just put everything into the middle just to be safe. So I'll be right back. I'm just gonna pop this into the oven. Okay, I'm just gonna give my hands a rinse. And then I will maybe just quickly check the time. So it's 12:33. So at about 53 or so, I'm gonna check in on the oven. So it's about 20 minutes from now. So in the meantime, we can get started on the remainder of the steps. So I'm going to start on these. I'm just going to move you over to the bench here now. I'm going to just get started on the couscous. Couscous is great. I mean, this packet of 500 grams was like maybe less than $2 at Coles, or maybe around $2, and it really lasts you a long time. So I do love couscous. But if you're not a fan of couscous, again, this recipe is so adaptable. You could do rice if you wanted to, or quinoa, or other grains, anything that you really sort of prefer. And with boiling water, so for couscous, we'll need to do this in a little pot. And usually what I like to do is I like to just boil up some water in the kettle beforehand, because it just speeds everything up so much more. But just because it's going to be quite noisy, I think for today I'll boil it from the pot from scratch, so you don't hear the kettle boiling. But yeah, the kettle trick is really good. It saves a lot of time. So I'm just going to follow the instructions that are on the back here. So it just says to place half a cup of water in a saucepan. So I'm just going to do half a cup. I've just got a little measuring cup, so I know what I'm doing. It's really not a lot of water, actually. Okay, so that's on the stove now. So I've got a little bit of water boiling here now. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to now just add 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil, and then salt to taste, and then you just want to bring this all to the boil. Again, just my trusty olive oil. Okay, and then back to my little container of salt. I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt in the water as well. So yeah, there's not much going on. It's literally just the water and the oil and a little bit of salt. Okay. And then once that's, I mean, it's already like pretty much up to a boil, so it's not a lot of water, so you really don't need a long time. Once that's boiling, you can actually already take that off the heat. So I'm just gonna take it off. It's sizzling quite a lot. I'm not sure why actually. It doesn't normally sizzle that much. I'm just gonna take that off the heat now. And then I'm going to add half a cup of the couscous. So I've just got a little cup measure here. So just half a cup of the couscous. Sorry, I know I'm not doing this all in front of it's just a very small kitchen, so unfortunately. I wish I could have the proper setup with like the cameras from like the above, so you could really see what I'm doing at all times. But yeah, just measuring out.
Professional view.
Half a cup. And then I've just popped that into the pot here. And then I'm just gonna stir this continuously for a few minutes. And just let the couscous really soak up all the water. Sorry. Feel free to mute me if this is very loud.
That's great. We feel like we're there with you.
You can already see it's starting to absorb the water quite nicely. So yeah, I didn't realize how easy it is to make couscous until I started making it. It's really quick, and yeah, it just adds a lot of nice texture and flavor to any meal.
I have never made couscous until now that you've just showed this, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Now you can see how fast this is.
Oh.
So I think that's pretty much there. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah. That's ready to go. So I'm just going to leave that now aside. So we don't really need that just yet, but that can just sort of cool down a little bit while we do the next few steps. I'm just going to pop you back here, and I'm just going to bring all the remaining ingredients from the dining table here. So I'm just gonna chop up the remainder of these chives that I have left. That would be a nice little garnish on top, and just will add a little bit of extra flavor as well. So let me see how I can position myself so you can, yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm just gonna chop these up quite finely because you don't want to have really big chunks of chives. I think I do need to practice my cutting skills. Like, it's definitely not MasterChef level yet. I can't do that really professional looking motion. I'm not sure I know.
That takes so many years practice.
Yeah.
Like I tried it back when I was doing my cooking class. It took me so long. By the end, I just got it. But now that I haven't done it for a while, I have to re-practice it. It's so much effort.
Yeah. Not
And I can
easy.
safely say you end up with a lot of cuts until you know how to do it.
Yeah. So you have to be prepared for a little bit of pain. No pain, no gain, I guess.
Exactly. Except for everyone watching, please be safe when you do it. Please don't aim for pain.
Yeah, please don't aim for pain. We don't want that.
Yeah, and please have band-aids close by.
Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got my little recipe so I don't forget anything. So I'm going to now zest the lemon as well, just a little bit, so that we get a little bit of that peel that we can add to our drizzle. And I would say this is also optional, so you don't have to worry about doing the grating if you don't want to. But I think it adds a little bit something fun. So just the sort of the small size, the small grating, I'm just going to, and I've just washed the lemon as well, just make sure that's washed, and then you really don't need too much, just like enough to have a pinch of the zest. Yeah, so that's probably about enough. I'm just going to show you what's going on my chopping board. So I've got my chives here, and then just a little bit of that lemon zest. Okay, so I'm going to
Just wondering, with regards to lemon zest, so for those who might not have fresh lemons, does lemon juice do the same if they have the bottle?
100%. Yeah, 100%. So I can show you what I actually prefer, to be honest. I prefer just using lemon juice out of the bottle. It's so much easier. But we've just been gifted a lot of lemons lately. So I've got all these lemons lying around, so I thought I might as well use them up for this recipe. But yeah, lemon juice is totally fine. The zest is really just for a little bit of extra zingy and sort of for the sort of visual element of it, but I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary by any means. So then I'm just going to also chop up the lemon. So I'm just going to do little wedges of the lemon, and that's something you can then drizzle over the top, and you can also just sort of serve it on the side of the salad. So that's just something I'll put away for now. And then very lastly, going to cut up a few of the pickles. Again, that's optional. I personally, I love pickles. I know that not everyone is a fan, so you don't have to add it, but it just adds a nice extra crunch and something a little bit salty and tangy. So I just have these little baby chili pickles.
Is there a particular brand, like the one that you've got, is that your go-to brand, or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I usually just go for anything that has a good deal, or any particular flavors that I like. So I noticed this one had some chilies as well, and I'm a big fan of spice, so that's just why I went for it. But I think any brand will do.
Perfect.
So I'm just gonna slice these up as well, just so you don't want to have really large pieces of pickle. So just small little discs like that will do. So I'm just gonna put away all of this just back to the dining table, so I have a little bit more space to work with. Okay, so now we are pretty much down to the last few steps. So I'm just gonna double check the time. Okay, so I've got probably a bit more to go. About 5 minutes. So I'm just double checking the roast veggies, and they are looking good. But I reckon, yeah, about 4 or 5 more minutes and then they'll be done. So in the meantime, we'll get started on the falafel. So this is also just like one of the sort of, I think, quite generic brands. I think this was from Coles, like $5. And so what I'll do is I'm going to just grab a little bowl. I'm just going to tear up the falafel into like halves. You could make it smaller as well if you want to, just so that these can. So what we're going to do is just going to fry them up slightly so that they go a little bit crispy. So just so that it's a little bit easier to fry up, I'm just going to sort of halve these. And if you have bigger falafels, then you could even do them in quarters. It depends on how big the falafels are. And so how many do I have? Got 5 here. So I might just do 6. But again, if you prefer to have more falafels, you can add more. If you don't want it to be too falafel heavy, you can add less. And also on this point, I should say, you could substitute the falafel for other things like halloumi if you wanted to do. If you wanted some animal-based proteins, you could add like roast chicken or chunks of tuna. It's sort of really up to you what you want to add here. This recipe really works with pretty much anything. That's why I love it. It's just very versatile. So what we'll do now is heat a frying pan. So I just have quite a fairly shallow frying pan. I'm just going to drizzle that again with olive oil. So you might need a little bit more for this, just because we're sort of shallow frying them. So I'm going to do about, I'm just getting my appropriate measuring cups. About 1/4 of a cup of olive oil for the amount of falafels that I have. And if you have more falafel or if you have less, then you can adjust your amount of oil accordingly. I'm just going to put that into the frying pan and then just start heating that up. So it's got our oil heating up. And yeah, also be very careful with this step. So anytime any hot oil is involved in frying, just be careful. It can spit a little bit at you. If that happens, it might be because maybe the pan wasn't completely dry, or there's some other moisture getting in. So just make sure you have things as dry as possible so that it reduces the chance of spitting. But something else I really think is great if you are working with sort of oils that could be spitting is using this sort of cover, just so that you can protect yourself a little bit and don't splash yourself or have any oil spitting at you. Okay. So I'm just gonna let that heat up. Here. So I've just got a little bit of oil in the pan, just starting to heat up a little bit.
And Djamila, just with regards to that temperature, do you have it on like high, medium, low? What do you have it set on?
I have it on at the moment on a bit of a medium to high.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But if you see that it's sort of really starting to bubble a lot and sort of spitting, then I would recommend turning it a little bit down.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's pretty much there. I'm gonna just turn on the fan so that I don't accidentally make the. So I'm sorry if that's a little bit loud. Is that okay? Can you still hear me? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay, cool. And actually, just before I start the frying of the falafel, I'm gonna take out my roast veggies. I think they're done. So I'm just gonna get my oven mitt and then take them out, and I'll show you. Okay, so let me just show you what the roast veggies are looking like. So just sort of caramelized enough, and you'll notice that it'll be quite tender if you sort of poke it with a fork. So that's when you know it's ready.
That looks so good.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let that cool off slightly while we fry off the falafel. So I've got my falafel ready to go, and I have a feeling it's going to sit at me a little bit, so I'm just going to be very careful. So I'm just going to use a large spoon with like a long handle, so I don't have to go too close to the oil. I just want to be as careful as possible. Okay, so I've got my falafel in here. It's actually not too bad. It's not spinning too much at me today. It's good. But yeah, you just want to sort of have them tossed around in the oil. And this shouldn't take long at all. About 5 minutes, I'd say, just to get the falafel nice and crispy. I actually think I might turn up the heat just a little bit. So you can see the flame is quite small right now. I might just turn it up a little bit. Gonna let that do its thing a little bit. I'm actually gonna put this thing on just that we're safe. And you wanna sort of keep an eye on it from time to time, just to make sure it's not burning. But because I've put it on a bit of a lower heat, it's not going to really cause any issues. Okay, so while that's sort of gently frying off, we might get started on the last bit.
Oh, sorry, wait, we're losing you a little bit there. What did you say?
Sorry, just while we're doing the, while it's sort of gently frying off, we'll do the last step, which is the sauce. Yeah. So I've got my, just like plain Greek yogurt here.
Djamila, can I ask, is there any chance while you're talking this that you could pop the camera back on the other table to do it? Just because I think it's a little too close.
Too close. Is that better? I just turned off the fan. I think I'm willing to.
Actually, no, that's good. We can hear you now.
Yeah, I was afraid that the fan would be too loud, so I'm just gonna turn it off. It's okay if my house smells like falafel, I don't mind. All good. Okay. So, just an update. So the falafel is sort of getting a little bit darker. So it's starting to crisp up nicely. That can probably, be another few minutes in there. So I'm going to just get a little, like a ramekin bowl that we can put all of our sort of condiments into and experiment a little bit. So actually, I haven't done this with minced garlic before, so I just wanted to try. So I've just done sort of 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt and just some minced garlic. I really like minced garlic because it sort of makes things much easier. I don't know, I don't really like cutting up garlic, like raw garlic myself, and this just makes it way easier. Oh gosh, I can't open this. Okay, give me a sec.
Is it brand new?
No, it's not brand new. I think it was just shut really tightly.
Bang it carefully.
Yeah.
Bang the lid on the side.
I've heard of that trick actually. It does work, doesn't it?
It does. You sort of have to be a little more aggressive than people think, but just carefully bang.
Oh, I almost have it. I think my hands are a little bit slippery. I'm going to ask my partner to open this. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
That's all good.
I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. We've got the lid off. So that's all ready. Okay, and I'm just going to turn off the heat on the falafel. That's nice and crispy now, and I think that's just the right amount. So I'm just gonna show you quickly into the pan. So just like a nice dark golden brown, and that will be really nice and crispy. I should say also that the frying of the falafel is completely optional. If you like to have it a little bit crispier, then this is definitely going to be for you. But if you don't mind not having it crispy, then you could also skip this step for sure. So I'm just going to fish them out of here. And then, gosh, it's really hard working with a small kitchen. I don't think have I shown you what I'm working with here? Like, it's literally, this is the kitchen. So this is really the only space I have. That's why I had to default to the dining table.
That was your dining table you
Yeah,
started on.
that was the dining table. So I do apologize if things.
No, hey, you're doing well. You'll have to come over here. You have to cook in my kitchen one day with me. We've got a bit more room so we can prepare something.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's definitely my dream to have a large kitchen one day. Okay.
Absolutely. We just moved in here and the kitchen's bigger than the last one. And I didn't realize how much space you actually use until you start doing it. You're like, oh wow, there's no space in a small kitchen.
Yeah, I think you might take it for granted when you have a lot of space, and then once you get into like a smaller apartment, you have to be very savvy with how you use the space.
Yep, absolutely.
So what I'm going to now do is, so I've got the couscous, so I might be jumping a little back and forth, but before I do this step with the sauce, what I'll do is I'm going to pop the roast veggies into the couscous and sort of toss them around. Mm-hmm. So just bear with me as I do that. Just got my tray of veggies, and I'm just gonna pop all of that into this pan with the couscous. And again, I'm sorry that I can't show you all of the steps as I'm doing it. A little bit tricky. But yeah, make sure you're really careful because the veggies might still be quite hot. So just be mindful of that as you're transferring them into the pot with the couscous. Mm-hmm. Jesse, how are we going for time?
You're doing well. We're at 1:02 at the moment.
Great, thank you. Okay, so just transferring the the last of the roast veggies into the pot. Just gonna move that back. So now I've got my tray back with the other ingredients. So what I'll do is I'm also gonna pop that lemon zest into that pot.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the pickles. And again, you can use olive, you can use whatever you'd like. So that's all going in. I'm just gonna rinse my hands. Okay, so now let me show you what's the deal here. So I've got all of that in there.
Ooh, hold that. Let me get a photo of that. That looks awesome. Okay, perfect. All yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also going to put half of the chives in there, and then the rest we can use as a garnish later. Okay, and then so you've got the cut up lemons. So also put in could use about, I'd say, half of that, and then sort of squeeze that in to the pot. And I don't have like a what is it called? A lemon, what do you call them? Like to actually,
for the juice?
Yeah, like a juicer. Is that what it's called? I don't have
a juicer? Like the squeeze one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, what it? Oh, aren't they? No, it's not a garlic crusher, is it? Or is it similar? No, garlic crushers are push down. What is that? Now I'm gonna find it while you do it because I'm not sure now. Oh, it's here. Sorry. Oh, it is. It's called a lemon squeezer.
Lemon squeezer, yeah. I had a feeling, but I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah, so obviously if you have a lemon squeezer, you can use that. But doing it this more barbaric way is totally fine too. And like I said, if you have just lemon juice in a bottle, that's 100% fine as well. It's, if anything, easier, but I just thought I would use up these fresh lemons that we had sitting around. Okay, so that's all the lemon juice in there. And then we've got some more left over for garnishing as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop you back here, and I'm going to now basically just combine all of that, just toss it all together in this pan. Got the same ladle thing from before. Starting to smell quite nice. I'll show you the final product when it's all combined, but yeah. And yeah, this really doesn't take long once you sort of streamline all the steps and you know exactly what you're doing. At the start, it might be sort of, you have to go back and refer to the recipe and sort of measure things out exactly. But over time, it gets so much quicker. Okay. So that's how it all looks once it's sort of mixed up together. I can see what you're saying. You're on mute, but
sorry. I said that looks so good.
Okay, so now I'm gonna move this chopping board out of the way again so that we have more space. And then yeah, just a final step in preparing the condiment. So I haven't actually tested this out, so it's going to be a little bit of a live experiment, but I think I'm going to do sort of like half a teaspoon of the garlic mince and see how that turns out. And if that's too much, then I can just always add a little bit more yogurt to it. Mixing that all up. Okay, let's give that a taste test. I actually think that could use a little bit more. So I'm gonna put in a tiny more. So yeah, just beware. Might not be the best meal before a date, but it'll be very delicious though. If you're not a fan of garlic, you could just drizzle some plain yogurt over it as well. That would be quite nice.
I have to admit that is one thing that my partner loves and lives off is garlic. Like, no matter what we are cooking, the first thing when I'm like, what ingredients do we need? It's like garlic, and then let me think of what else. And I'm like, really? So much garlic.
It's so good for you though. Garlic is so good for you.
Okay, well, I'll be happy with him using it then. If I'll take your word for it. If it's good for you, we can use it.
It really, really has amazing health benefits. So I think justified
Okay.
using it a lot.
Perfect. I love it. I'll take your word.
Okay, so now I'm going to use the 4-leaf salad mix. This is just easy because it's like pre-washed and everything, but you can also use other leaves if you want. I think like kale would work really well. So this one has spinach, rocket, I think just spinach and rocket, and actually no, it's a 4-leaf salad. What am I saying? It has spinach, rocket, and some other unidentifiable green leaves. But yeah, this works really well in the salad. So to sort of put this all together, what I'm going to do is just put a bed of leaves. I'll show you as I sort of go along. So I'm going to sort of put a bed of green leaves down like this, and then then I'm going to portion out. So I made 2 servings of this, so I'm going to portion out half of that into the bowl. And then I've got my trusty falafel, and I'm just going to sort of drop that on top. So again, I'll just use half of the falafel in the bowl. And then finish that off with the yogurt garlic sauce. I'm just eating. Sorry, I have no shame, just eating while I'm already.
Stop teasing. I'm already waiting to eat food. I'm so excited to see this. It looks so good.
Okay, so then I'm going to pop the remaining chives on top.
Would you suggest one thing I'm thinking about when I go to make this? We like to use mint or Vietnamese mint. Is that something you think would go with this as well?
I think so, yeah. That's a good suggestion, actually.
Okay.
I think that'd be nice, yeah.
Nice.
I've only done parsley with this before. So I haven't tried mint, but I think that would work really well as well. It would give a quite contrasting flavor. That might be nice.
Okay, I might try it.
And that is the finished product.
Wow, that looks amazing. God, that makes me so hungry now.
Um,
Oh, and amazing. For those watching again, Djamila, what was the name of this dish?
my gosh, I don't have like a proper, it's like a couscous falafel roast veggie meal.
I love it. No, that's awesome. And look, so we probably started about 1:10 or quarter past. So it's roughly taken us about an hour, but obviously with all the talking as well
Yeah.
and the moving around. So for someone to, from start to finish, how long do you think this would take roughly?
Once you sort of have all the steps that you need and you've got all the sort of ingredients pre-prepared, like you've got everything, all your ingredients like on the counter, and so you don't have to like keep going back and forth. Like if you have all the sort of necessary steps ready, it probably only takes half an hour, honestly. Like
Okay.
while the veggies are roasting away for like 20 minutes, 25, you just like
Mhm.
do all of the remaining steps, like frying up the falafel, getting the couscous ready, making the sauce. So if you're really quick, you can do that like within the 20 minutes while the veggies are roasting, and then you just throw it all together. So it really, yeah, doesn't take too long once you
I love that.
know.
And I think that's perfect, especially for students. As you would know yourself, you don't always have a lot of time. So having something like this that's really quick, really easy, and obviously looks really healthy as well, I think that's an amazing thing. And I think students would definitely get on board with that.
Hope so. The bonus is it tastes really good as well. And yeah, you're getting your veggies, your dose of veggies in there as well, and some healthy fats with the olive oil, and then you've got some of the Greek yogurt as well. So I think it's a very nutritious meal, and it also doesn't cost very much at all. So I was sort of talking through some of the ingredients and how much they cost, and if you buy things sort of in bulk as well, then making this meal will really not be that expensive. It'll be cheaper than eating out.
Nice. I love that. That's something I definitely need to stop doing. So thank you for such an awesome recipe. Did you have any last pointers or anything else you want to let everyone know before we let you go enjoy that?
I would say be adventurous with this. The good thing, like I kept sort of saying on and on, is you can really substitute a lot of the base ingredients. You can substitute the veggies that you're roasting. You can also get rid of the salad if you want the leaves and add something else like tomatoes or cucumbers for other sort of this other sense of freshness. You can mix up the sauce that you're putting on top. So like if you sort of get sick of the same flavors, you can really mix it up, which I really like about this particular recipe.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, look, Djamila, I won't hold you up because I know that amazing meal's sitting there for you. But I did want to say a massive thank you for coming on and sharing with us your amazing food. And hopefully we will see some students attempt this and we'll upload the recording now onto our YouTube channel so people can make their own dishes.
Sounds good.
Thank you for that. Go enjoy your food.
Thank you so much for being
Absolutely.
lunch as well. Hope you got something nice.
Absolutely. And obviously, I am definitely going to go away now and attempt this dish myself one day. So I will let you know how I go.
And I'll send all the ingredients and sort of recipe steps as well after.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much for that, Djamila. And have a great afternoon.
You too. Thanks so much.
See ya. Bye.